An ER doc from Boston, in his spare time, writes comics about the zombie apocalypse. Let's take a look. And hello everyone, it's Tom, it's FANzine Live, and today we are doing a crowdfunded zine video. By the time I get to Dallas, it's by a gentleman named Colin Devonshire. He's the author and creator. As background, and he does, as it says, he has 4 issues. Devonshire is a physician in the Boston area, as I understand it, or he's in the medical profession. And he has been writing this since 2019 as kind of his side gig hobby thing. He's crowdfunded 4 issues of it. He also has a prequel project called the Trinity Project, which apparently tells the backstory of By the Time I Get to Dallas. And what he's done is he has taken his personal experience and turned it into a compelling kind of zombie apocalypse type of book. The basic premise of this is, well, here, let's read this. It says, when 80% of the human race starts migrating to a single point on the globe, failing medical student Rudy Deckard sets out across the disintegrating U.S. to rescue his girlfriend, become a doctor, confront a murderous militia using the migration to start a new world order, and find a cure for the migration impulse that will save or maybe destroy humanity. Written by a practicing emergency physician from the point of view unique in comics, By the Time I Get to Dallas is a medical coming-of-age story wrapped in an epic apocalyptic adventure that is dark, funny, thrilling, and unlike anything you've seen in a comic before. This is very accurate. So very quickly, let's go through the first 3 issues just so that you can understand kind of where things are going. It starts out that his version of the zombie apocalypse is that 6 out of the 7 billion people in the United States just drop everything and start walking toward Dallas, Texas. And as a result, as you can see, society is crumbling for those who are left. We have Rudy, who is kind of the gung-ho trauma surgeon. His girlfriend, she eventually decides she too is going to Dallas. Or does she decide? Good question. So she joins the horde, leaving her bag behind. I mean, she is not entirely with it. He has left medical school. He has decided instead to go after his girl, and he is going to see where things take him. Which brings us to book 2. The exodus from Boston is on. He decides to follow instead and see if he can catch up with his girlfriend. He has his list of stuff. He's not a prepper by any means, so he's kind of figuring it out as he goes. And he discovers that the good people of Boston have created an internment camp for all of these zombified people. Is that the right word, zombified? And of course, all they want to do is walk southwest toward Dallas, and it ends up becoming an ugly riot. He actually finds shelter in the Museum of Science in Boston, and there are a couple guys there who are doing an electromagnetic a portable geomagnetic sensor he built. And he is trying to figure out the effects of electromagnetic anomalies on animal migration patterns. Yes, he thinks there's something electromagnetical about people wanting to go to Boston. And so this guy and his assistant are trying to figure out what's going on. This lady is kind of she was working at a church, and she has seen her church ruined. Her congregation is ruined. She is simply trying to help people, and she's decided to give up the ghost as well, that Boston isn't worth staying in. So the four people are Hero, the two electromagnetic scientists, and the I don't know what's the right word, church lady. They find a boat, the Iroquois, belonging to John Henry, the guy who owns the Red Sox, and they hijack it. But the person on the boat is named Doug, and Doug wants to go to Dallas, of course. And so he is the staffer, the ship crew on the boat, and he ends up driving them down the shoreline, leaving a burning Boston. He changes the artist, I'm noticing, but he is getting relatively similar styles, and it's close enough that I'm not noticing the difference. Anyway, so they're on their way south, and they were able to hack into some satellites, and they discovered that the protagonist's girlfriend, who still has her cell phone on, is now in between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, walking south. And yes, everybody's basically walking. They then discover that there are some folks, the U.S. Coast Guard, it appears, who are trying to protect the homeland from what they call the travelers. And they discover that the pilot of the boat is a traveler, so they are protected from him, and they've decided that these four people have to be as well, that they can't coexist. So they blow up the boat, but the boat has jet skis and some nice, fun action scenes. They make it to shore in the independent state of Atlantic City. Within a couple of weeks, America is regressing back to basically city-states. And these guys choose to go raid the supermarket. And in the process, they run into this little girl who goes to Wacky Wombats. She runs inside Wacky Wombats, which is a fictional version of Chuck E. Cheese, pizza and gaming place. They run into a bunch of kids. And we learn that children are not susceptible to whatever is going on, and that they are being abandoned by their parents. So the kids wisely have gathered together as a pack, stockpiling their food, but they are sick. And so our Rudy, the protagonist, helps the kid out, which is kind of an interesting thing because Rudy hasn't been the most empathetic med student, and so he's kind of developing his heart as he goes along. They leave the kids behind because there's really nothing they can do for them. They want to get to Dallas because they're trying to catch up with his girlfriend. So, book 4. They are on their way, in theory, to Dallas. They're really trying to catch up with his girlfriend, and they are going to Gettysburg. And talk about symbolism. A bunch of these travelers, as they call them, are walking through the battlefield at Gettysburg. A militia is firing upon them. Rudy says, "Oh no." And he discovers that his girlfriend is one of the travelers and she's been shot. Using good medical background, Devonshire does a great job going through the process by which Rudy fixes the collapsed lung, saves her, and of course, all she does, not even pulling the needle out of her chest, just gets up and starts walking back toward Dallas. The sniper grabs her. So what we've now got is a militia that has captured, I guess you would say, our 4 voyagers. I'm not going to call them travelers. They go through kind of almost a Walking Dead style discussion of a society that is trying to rebuild itself in the wake of the disintegration of the United States. And this is the guy who's in charge. This is the scientist, virologist, who is trying to work through how travelers come to be. And I believe this panel right here is a direct callback to the prequel Trinity Project books. So you can tell the two books are indeed linked. What they're suggesting is that this guy is a group of what they call the Founding Fathers, and they're militias across 13 states, and they are trying to happily rebuild the country in their own image. When our scientists try to do a test of this electromagnetic pulse, they actually find that the Founding Father's wife, who has turned into a traveler, she actually regresses, and that she actually reverts back to normal behavior. The leader only wanted it done on his wife to bring her back. He's actually vested in this new environment, this new world, and he wants to lead it. He says to round up the 4 Voyagers because they can't do this anymore. The folks escape. The militia is after them. The lead scientist has been shot along the way, and they are heading off to try to cure everybody at Dallas. That's a lot of story, especially for 4 issues, but even just alone, this is a big issue. It is well paced. It is well written. It has a little backstory up at the front. It has flashbacks. The plot moves forward and rather aggressively. I was kind of surprised that Rudy's girlfriend dies in issue 4. I figured she would have been the tool to get Rudy to Dallas, but they've since stopped that. And now you've got a militia after him. I mean, there's a whole lot going on. Hopefully you've seen along the way. The artwork is pretty good. It's clean. It's clear. The colors are nice. It's a good mix of lights and darks. It's just a good looking book. And it's a really well written book, which makes it that much easier. There is a place in our world for crowdfunded comics that take topics that would not normally be covered in the independent comics marketplace or in the big two. For people to take a chance on themselves. Devonshire's done this with By the Time I Get to Dallas. And he's proven that he knows what he's doing. And he's proven that he can tell a pretty darn good story. It is a fresh look at the zombie genre, which we've had a lot of thanks to The Walking Dead. But it's really, really well done. So, just wanted to share this one with you. By the Time I Get to Dallas, book 4. Information on how to order this from Pit Doc Press will be in the show notes. And hopefully you can get yourself a copy. Get on their Kickstarter list because he's already talking about book 5 and having that getting ready to roll. Do it. Do yourself a favor. Take a look. Find this stuff and read it for yourself. It's very good. Let me know what you think about By the Time I Get to Dallas. Let me know what you think about the role of crowdfunding in the comics marketplace, both of financially and the marketplace of ideas. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel because you never know what you're going to find next. I will catch you next time.